This is Real Estate Talk Boston, and joined right now by real estate entrepreneur, really, Dana Bull from Harborside Sotheby's. Dana, thanks for joining us.
Great, thanks for having me.
Real estate entrepreneur in that you are a real estate agent,
Yep.
You're an investor, you're a real estate coach. You do it all.
Yeah, and I write for Zillow too.
Yeah?
I have a blog with them, so.
And
yeah.
you got into real estate at a really young age.
Yeah, I kind of jumped into it right after college. So I started when I was 22, and my boyfriend at the time, he's now my husband, but we just started collecting properties. And so then I just kind of got entrenched in the industry through that and kind of found a passion for it with all these different angles.
When you started acquiring properties, was it multifamily homes?
Yeah, so it started with a condo, and then from there we just started jumping up to bigger properties. So now everything is all multifamilies.
And in regards to your coaching business, do you coach people on how to become real estate investors, or is it on the agent side?
So I focus on, with the coaching business, it's first-time buyers, just because I think that there's, a lot of people just end up winging it when they buy because we don't learn how to buy a property in school. So I focus on the overall process because I think having that holistic view of what to expect, it's so valuable as a buyer. It makes you feel like you're in control because you know what's going on. So I focus on that, and then also for first-time investors, just specific things that you want to be aware of if you're trying to get your feet wet.
It's a great idea, and I wish they actually had that class in college, right? What goes into purchasing your first home? Make a whole class about real estate. It's a great idea.
Right. I mean, you can have a whole section on lending, how to hire an attorney. In some states, you don't need an attorney, so there's a lot of different angles. And yeah, I mean, working here in Boston, when I meet buyers for the first time, they have no idea where to start. So I'm glad when they come to me because then I can at least give them the educational process.
What's really cool about your business from the realtor side is that you do really focus on buyers. You'll sell homes occasionally, but you really focus on the buy side. When you sit with that buyer for the first time, what are you going over with them?
So it can take, I had a session a couple weeks ago that was 3 hours because they knew nothing. So first I start off with kind of the high level. What does a typical transaction look like from hiring a realtor to actually getting the keys and calling the moving trucks? So we kind of walk through that. Then we talk about building the team. So, I'm one piece of the puzzle, but you need to partner with a lender. Here in Massachusetts, you need a closing attorney, a home inspector, all these other pieces. So I really focus on, building that right team. And then we talk about the market in general. People have all these hopes and ambitions and, talking realistically about where we're at. We're in a housing crunch, inventory is really low, and just multiple bid competitive situations. That's the norm.
Sure. And, as we're wrapping up 2017 here, I can't believe that is the case, and heading into 2018, what real estate trends are you seeing out there right now that are impacting those buyers?
So on the buy side, upsizing is something to be aware of. So here in the city, we don't worry about it too much because condos are generally small. But if you're buying outside the city, what's been going on is developers have been facing, this real issue where for them to meet their margins, they've got to build bigger. So because materials and labor is so expensive. So if you're a buyer looking for a starter home and you have a modest budget, you might be hard pressed to find new construction in a smaller, with a smaller floor plan. So it's just funny because there's all this focus now on tiny houses, and I think it's fun to follow that revolution, but in reality, home sizes have increased by about 20% since 2000.
Interesting.
So yeah, so if you're looking for a starter home, you might be funneled into looking at older neighborhoods, older properties where you can get those starter homes, kind of fixer-uppers.
What about, we had talked about offering micro lofts?
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
So here in the city, it's the opposite. So developers, because of the land density constraints, they're forced to build up and they're forced to make their numbers work. They want to fit more units under one roof. So to kind of overcome that, it's really a perks-driven type of marketing strategy. So they're offering, whether it's buyers or renters, things like gyms, conference rooms with free Wi-Fi. We're seeing a lot of pet-friendly buildings. So it's kind of like if you're a tenant or if you're a buyer, it's like, well, yeah, my unit's 600 square feet, but at least I got a roof deck. So
it's a great idea.
Yeah.
It really is. If you have a gym at your house and a roof deck, like you said, and you have all these amenities right outside your door, you really don't need that much space.
Right. And I mean, that's definitely how they can pitch it to the younger audience, where you're going to be in close proximity to whatever transportation options that you need, but you are going to have to sacrifice on the actual size of where you live.
Let's talk about that younger generation. Generation Z, I guess,
Yeah.
is coming into the real estate market now. What impact are they having on the local market here? Are you seeing them out there ready to buy?
Yeah, so just from a marketing standpoint, we like to group things into bite-sized pieces. So millennials are anybody born between 1980 and 1995, and Gen Z is now the new cohort. So it's 1996 to 2010. And they're definitely,
me feel old.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's making me feel old. So the Gen Z generation is the older of that generation. They're just starting to graduate, and a lot of them want to buy. Some of the difference we're seeing with that generation compared to the generation before is some of them are opting not to go to even more higher education. So they've seen their older siblings or older generations kind of just suffer under the student loan debt. So they're foregoing going to grad school, and now they're focused on buying. Some of the other differences are they're even more so on demand, just because they've grown up with that culture of always being on and accessible and available. And they're digital natives, as opposed to my generation. I remember a time before we had internet, before we had instant communication. But that being said, they actually do kind of gravitate towards the face-to-face interaction more so than, I'm talking generally, but more so than my generation, where we prefer to communicate sometimes by email, instant message.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's like a small.
It's actually good to hear.
Yeah.
That people want to get back in front, face to faces.
Yeah, for lenders,
thing.
for real estate agents, it's kind of music to our ears, because we like that dynamic of being able to have the face to face.
Well, we love doing it this time of year, is giving forecasts, and you are a bull in real estate, right?
Thanks.
Had to say it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Real estate investor, coach, realtor. Where do you see the market going?
Well, I think, the question everybody always asks is, what do you think? Like, when's the next crash? Is it a good time to buy? And I don't know. I mean, the truth is, I don't know. But I think this spring, it's going to be even more competitive than last year. So I think almost every deal I put together last year was a multiple bid situation.
Yeah.
So I just don't see it slowing down. Even on Thanksgiving Day, I was writing up an offer for buyers, and there were 20 other offers. So it is. So I see that kind of continuing to be the norm. So if you want to buy, you've got to get aggressive, start to get your ducks in a row sooner rather than later, so that you're prepared.
Thank you for stopping by, Dana. And if you're jumping into the market up in the Salem area, want to be competitive, why not go into the battle with a bull, right?
Yep, thanks, Chris. I like that. I'm going to use that.
Check out danabullrealtor.com. Remember, we have more market tips just like this right here on boston.com.